wait a minute. Is that a dog chariot race? Okay, guys, I want you to visualize this. 44 handicapped dogs, all in carts, running out of a dog sanctuary in Thailand. Well, this week we have a really interesting show. It's a journey of about a guy who's Swedish, lived in Scotland, moved to Thailand to be a restaurateur. And through his journey, he ends up taking care of a dog. Next thing you know, he's taking care of several more. He's feeding these dogs all over the place. Well, today, he's actually taking care of over 1,150 dogs every day. This man, Michael Baines, who has an organization that's called The Man That Rescues Dogs, is joining us. It's going to be a great show, so sit back and get ready for a really fun time. We are supported by PrepVet, providing stem cell therapy for pets.
As a pet lover, did you know your pet can benefit from the incredible healing power of stem cell therapy? Prep Therapy offers a groundbreaking solution taken right from your pet's own blood. Say goodbye to joint pain, arthritis, kidney and liver conditions, and more. They'll experience faster recovery, increased vitality, and extended quality of life without the need for surgery or harmful drugs. Put the wag back in their tail and discover Prep Therapy today at PrepVet.com. Save 10% with promo code FurRealPodcast, covered by most pet insurance.
For real, 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 for real. Got a bunch of furry friends and I love them all the same. I'm an animal lover, veterinarian is the name. Let's share some pet stories from heartwarming to strange, losses and gains, from wacky to insane. For real. You're now tuned in to For Real with your host, Mark Kyle.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the For Real podcast. Today is a really, really cool one. I've been dying to have this guy on for a long time, and we finally got together. Please welcome Michael Baines from Thailand, and he is actually the founder of The Man That Rescues Dogs, tmtrd.org. Michael, thanks for joining us, and I'm really excited for everybody to hear what you're doing out there.
Good morning, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's morning for you. It's night for me, so it's even better. I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning. I know you're from Sweden, and you moved to Thailand to start a restaurant, and let's just go from there and start telling your story.
Yeah. Actually, I'm born in Scotland, and
Oh, really?
So yeah, when I have time, and when I have time, or the people I'm talking to have time to listen to me, I usually say. I start with I'm born in Scotland, but if they don't have time, I say I'm Swedish, because usually when I say I'm born in Scotland, they usually say no, not with that accent. So that's the thing.
By the way, Kyle is Scottish, so we're actually probably related in some way.
Most probably, yeah. So yeah, I moved to. So I'm a chef by profession, and I'm a dog rescuer by choice. And I moved to Thailand. I've been a chef since I was 18.
Wow.
I've been working in various places in Stockholm. And I was 33. Actually, before that, 1999, I went to my first trip to Thailand. And I fell in love with the country and the people. And I went back and forward. In 1.5 years, I went 7 times.
Wow.
And my previous boss wasn't that happy. But eventually, I found a job there, and I applied for it. I got the position as a restaurant manager and a chef, and I moved. And when I was 33, this was 2001. Yeah, 2001 in May. So I moved here. I didn't have any thoughts. I didn't have nothing to hold me back in Sweden. I just moved. So the first years, until the first 10 years, there's a lot of dogs here on the streets, and a part of the culture here, a part of the society. But I didn't hate them. I didn't love them. I just saw them, and they were just there.
You're kind of part of the background of the atmosphere of Thailand, because I know that isn't there some religious thing that feeding them gives you you're treated better or whatever by taking care of the dogs?
Well, I'm not really sure about that, but there's about 2 million stray dogs in Thailand. About 2 million.
Wow.
And most of the people feel like indifference. They don't. It's the same as me. They don't love them. They don't hate them, and they don't hurt them. But then you have a few people percentage that really love them and help out. Then you have a small amount of people that hate them and do harm. Anyway, so for the first 10 years, I didn't care, as I said. And then one day in 2011, one dog turned up behind the restaurant I was running. It was an outdoor restaurant, and she was in really bad shape. Skinny, had infections all over her body and wounds. And she just looked in my eyes, and I read her like, "Feed me, help me." And she touched me and touched my heart. She didn't touch me per se. Um, she came back 5 p.m. every day, and I fed her. I gained her trust. I took her to a clinic. I healed her up, and that was the start. That was the start for me, and then I started to notice the dogs like more and more and helping more dogs. So long story short, yeah.
One of the things I read about Thailand too, one of the problems is, and we'll get into this later on, is rabies. 95% of the human rabies is from the stray dogs there, and you know there's a lot of reasons why, but I mean it happens in a lot of countries, but that's a pretty big number.
It is, yeah. The thing is that there are cases of rabies. I wouldn't say there's a lot, but of course, one is more than enough.
Right.
The thing is that the people, and this is, and I usually say this when people ask me, what do you think? What about the dog problem? I said, there's no problem with the dogs. It's a people problem.
It's a human problem, right?
It is. Yeah, it's a human problem because the dogs don't ask to be dumped. And people should spay and neuter. So it comes from the people that don't take responsibility, to dump the dogs. So maybe this is karma biting their ass, the rabies. But there are cases, yes, but it's not that much as people think. But as again, one is enough.
Well, they're also biting, they're giving rabies to cows and cats too, because they're attacking them as well, because they're street dogs, a lot of them, and that's the ones that get the rabies, right?
They have some farms, but then again, if a person get bit by a dog, you have to go to the hospital and get the rabies shot and the tetanus shot within 24 hours. If you don't do that, then you're an idiot, right? Even though you know the dogs.
Well, here in the States, that you're all dogs are supposed to get rabies shots. They don't all get them. But when I was a kid, actually, I got bit by a dog, and my parents were really worried. And we had to go driving around trying to find this dog because there was a period of time, I don't know what it was. And the rabies shots for humans are in your stomach. They're long things. I was within a day of actually, or like 24 hours of actually having to get the shots. We finally found the dog. The dog had rabies shots and all that. But when I was a kid, I almost had to go and get the shots myself.
Yeah, when I was bitten the first time, you get scared. But if you follow the protocol, go to the hospital, get your shots, and follow the protocol of the shots, and then you're fine. If you don't do that, then and you have and you the dog have rabies and you get it, well, it's up to you. It's
Yeah.
but again, it's a. I think when I took over, when I started getting involved with dogs, I think I've seen maybe 10, 15 cases of rabies in 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the exception, not the rule, but it certainly happens.
Yeah, of course. But and then you have the municipalities and the provinces here. They do rabies shots for the dogs, vaccinations on the street, but they don't do like distemper. Distemper is worse, but
Right.
distemper doesn't affect the humans. That's why they don't do it, and they try to save money.
So let's go back. So you got the one dog
Yep.
that now you're paying attention. So how did it grow from there? So you started paying attention, you've seen all these dogs, then what happens?
Well, as I said, I started paying attention. I got more involved in with the dogs on the streets. I started to feed them on my way from home to my restaurant, and morning and night, and I started to feed more dogs, and it became a routine for me. And then I found More dogs. When I was out walking my dogs, I found more dogs in the forest or in the woods behind my restaurant,
Hmm.
and so I started to have a route. Sorry, and I fed around 80 to 100 dogs a day uh, during that time until,
Wait, 100 dogs a day?
yeah, about that, yeah.
Wow.
driving around Driving around, as I said, from my house to my restaurant and behind my restaurant. So I fed about 100 dogs a day, which is nothing compared to now.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna get there.
That was my relaxing days. That was my
But what are you feeding them? It's just stuff from the restaurant, or what were you doing?
I boil rice and I mix it with dry food, and I mix it with some kind of wet food like boiled meat, chicken, or some bouillon, and so on. And well, really nice, tasty. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say gourmet meals for the street dogs.
Oh yeah, they like that, and so that went on from the beginning until 2016. So in 2016, there was a news media platform in Sweden called Newsner, and the one in charge there, Anna, she sent me an email. She said, "I want to help you. Please send me some footage of you feeding the dogs in the streets." So I did that, and she made a clip of 1 minute and 20 seconds, which was okay. Now it's too long. 1 minute and 20 seconds on Facebook is like a whole movie. People don't have the attention span. So that went viral, and what crazy was all over the world, subtitled to 25 different languages,
That's awesome.
and articles, and the Dodo got involved, Lad Bible, all these big platforms. So we got a push, and at that time I decided, and then we got more followers and more donations via our Facebook page. So I decided to rent a house. This was in May 2016, and hire staff.
Mhm.
So, and at that time, we took in more dogs. So this was the turn. This is the next chapter,
Right.
because I was, feeding the dogs in the street, running my restaurant, and was fine. So, and now we start to take off.
By the way, so you rented a regular house, just a house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Inside a gated community with neighbors. They were okay with the first 10 dogs, but when we came up to 60, they start to complain, of course, and we got evicted. I wouldn't want to be neighbor with myself at that time.
Right.
So in 2017, we took over the local dog pound run by the municipality, which I work closely with now, and also at that time. So we took over that place. That was the next chapter. So it's chapter three.
So you took it over, so it was being run, and you just went to the municipality and said, "Hey, I think I can do this better, and I'm gonna do more things," or how did that work?
I'm a good friend of the mayor. I've been a good friend with him for over 20 years. And so I called him up and I said, "Hey, Tui," his name is Kuntui. And I said, "Hey, Tui, I'm at the local dog pound, and just for a record, I'm taking over." And he said, "Oh, okay, fine." And he's happy. That the place was really bad. Small place, 150 square meters, 100 dogs in there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and all in bad shape, skinny and sick, and the staff didn't care, poo everywhere. So anyway, I called him up and said, "I'm taking over." He said, "Fine, and I'm gonna expand." He said, "That's fine." So since 2000, April 2017, the dog pound, or is it sanctuary now, has been in my
By the way, that's a great name. I actually was gonna tell you this earlier. I think calling it a sanctuary versus a shelter or a dog pound or whatever you wanna call it is such a better name. Great idea.
sanctuary is better, but shelter is not that bad either. We give the dogs shelter from.
I like that. I like shelter, but sanctuary has a bigger meaning, at least to me it does.
Of course. But we usually call it shelter, but I try to, remember to call it a sanctuary. Anyway, we took over. I started to expand from building the shelter one, we call it, with a lot of bridges and places to hang out with the dog, and swimming pools. And then we got evicted from the old house, so I had to build a new house up here at the sanctuary, and that's where we took in the special need dogs.
And the swimming pools, for everybody that's listening, that you're doing water therapy for these guys, right?
We do for the dogs that are paralyzed and have distemper in the central nervous system. So we do that. Yes, we do it 3 times a week.
Wow.
So that's great. They all, and then they will be take a bath at the same time.
Were you, before you moved to Thailand, were you a big dog person or a cat person before this, or just because he happened the one dog came in, he should be your mascot?
We had a dog when I grew up. I was about 10 years old. 10 years old. My stepdad had a dog, and that dog stayed with us about 2 years, and then she passed away, and then more dog. So I wasn't really a dog person. No, no.
Well, you were, you just didn't know it.
I yeah, I didn't know it at that time. It took me a few more years to figure that out.
So you've got all these special needs dogs, which I also think is pretty amazing too. I work with I do a lot of refugee work in conflict zones, and I have a lot of friends that run, refugee things. But what they also do, they always have it for the special needs things. I have a couple of friends that do it specifically for them. But you've taken it a step farther because you don't really, I talk to a lot of people out there, but I don't really talk to a lot of people that actually have a specific designated area for special needs dogs, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, our sanctuary is it's sand, grass, and concrete. If you have these dogs that are paralyzed, and we have 44 at the moment, they will bruise up their knees and their legs, and of course, so we have
Right.
our special care unit where we have six or seven full-time staff that care for these dogs almost 24/7. Of course, they have their breaks, and I mean, we don't work 24/7, but they're there. And it's not only the 44 dogs in wheelchairs, we have the paralyzed dogs. We also have dogs that have the second phase of distemper that has entered the central nervous system, and they also need special care. And we have about 15 of them. Usually, normally, in other places here in Thailand and around the world, they put the dogs to sleep
Right.
if they are paralyzed or have distemper. We don't do that because they're still dogs. They just cannot walk on four legs.
So the ones that are paralyzed, I think I read somewhere a while ago, a lot of them are hit by scooters and stuff, or some are part for distemper. But I mean, why do you have so many? Is there any reason?
Well, I don't know. I rescued, I adopted my dog Cork. Cork, Coke, like Coca Cola.
Coca Cola, yeah.
And I say Cork, Cork. And so I adopted him over 10 years ago. And so he was paralyzed. And he was probably the start of me, accepting that dogs can be paralyzed and in a wheelchair. He passed away a few months back of pancreatitis. That was hard.
Yeah.
So anyway, he was with me for 10 years. And then we took in some other dogs that were paralyzed. And I don't know why it's like we specialized in this. And so 44 is a high number. It's a big number if you look at one shelter or sanctuary. But if you look in Thailand, there are so many more. There's so many more that need help, but we cannot take in all.
Right.
So 44 is actually a low number if you compare to the amount of dogs that are hit by cars. Usually get hit by cars,
Okay.
say motorbikes or scooters, and some cases, rarely, people they beat up and crush the dog's spine
Uh,
or cut them with knives or machetes.
uh,
We also have a dog that she was used as a living, moving target for some teenagers with guns. So they shot her in the neck and in the spine, and she has 3 bullets. This is a BB gun, but a powerful one. So she had 4 bullets in her neck and 3 in her spine, and she could walk for one day, and then she just collapsed, and because one of the bullets penetrated the
the nerve.
nervous system. Yeah, so
Oh.
most of them are hit by cars.
Yeah, why would anybody target practice? Humans are just horrible.
Yeah,
Some humans are just terrible.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a human problem, not a dog problem. I don't know.
Well, have you ever heard that saying? I actually just read this today. It's a guy by the name of Benjamin Hoff, and he says a lot of people talk to animals, but not very many people actually listen to animals, and that's the bigger problem. If you listen to them, you'll see it.
That's a good statement. That's true.
I love that statement.
Yeah, I can actually. I'm not sure, but I can read. I listen to it. I look at them. They communicate with me. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not on any medication,
No, it's not.
but maybe I should be on medication. But I can, I can feel how they are thinking. I can see things that my staff cannot see in other people. I don't know why. I just try to put myself in their position and their point of view. So I see this. Anyway, yeah,
No, I absolutely 100% believe this. And when we have conversations, a lot of the conversations I have in the show, dogs know things. Like yeah, you'll see dogs that they won't be friendly with a person, and why that is, I never really know. But dogs are always kind to me, obviously to you too, and kids. And I think it's because there's a trust factor, but there's an energy that dogs can read, and I believe if we tune into it ourselves, we can read it as well what they're doing. I just believe that.
sure. I mean, if you can read the body language, I'm not a dog behaviorist at all. I don't do sit, lig, fetch. I don't do that at all. I don't really care about that. I would like to have my dogs. If I say stop and they stop, sit down, but I have 15 dogs myself, and that's impossible.
You only have 15 dogs? That's it?
Yeah, I had 18 at most.
Oh my God.
Of course, I lost six dogs in the last 2 years. But yeah, yeah, 15 now.
I had 6 at one time and 2 cats, and I thought we had a lot, but 15, you've tripled mine.
Well, it's I don't know why they end up in my house because I do have the space at the sanctuary. But some dogs, they just get under your skin and into your heart, and and that's it. But most of them are actually around 9 to 10 years old. I have a few that are in their teens, but less than 2 years. But most of them, so I haven't taken in a lot the last years. But I'm always say to myself that whenever another dog of mine pass away, that's it. No more dogs. Of course,
I'm not getting another one, and then you get 2 more.
I cannot keep that promise. I always end up with more.
No, one dies, you get 2 more. Is that that's what ends up what happening all the time. I'm one of those people all the time.
Yeah, it's. Let's see the next one. I'm not going to say anything that I cannot.
So let's go back. So you've taken all these. By the way, for you guys that are listening, there's a great TikTok, a reel out there of all the dogs in their carts running out of your place, which I've seen. And of course, I'll have it on social media now. But if you look up the man that rescues dogs, and you'll see it. It's wild.
Yeah, they're fun. We walk these dogs twice a day, and my dogs also twice a day. But the wheelchair, we call them wheelchair mafia. I call them the wheelchair mafia.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you know what? What you notice when you see that video, of course, you see all the carts, but they all look so happy.
They are. They're so happy.
Well, obviously, yeah.
We strap them up about 5:45, and at 6 in the morning, we run out for a short walk. And then in the afternoon at 2 o'clock, we strap them up. Like, they know what's going on. They know
Right.
they're like clockwork. Anyway, and we let them out on the gate, and it's the same every day. Every day, the feeling they're just jumping around and they're so excited, and they just run. They just run out and they're so happy. And the thing is, when you see these dogs, if you have a point of view, if you have an opinion about that, paralyzed dogs should be put to sleep no matter what. You come here and you see these dogs, or in a clip, you change your mind. If you're not, you're cold hearted.
Exactly.
Because these dogs, they're not aware that they are paralyzed. They're not, and they have most of them two front legs, and that's enough. I mean, we only have two legs.
Right.
Yeah,
I was going to say is that I bring this up all the time too. You have to, I think what this podcast is doing for me is it's reinforcing what I knew but didn't really actually voice it. Is that animals, dogs have all the same diseases that humans do. They have everything we have, but we think of them as dogs. We don't think of them as real beings. And if you treat them the same way you would be a human, what human would you put to sleep because they couldn't walk? You put them in a wheelchair so they can get around. You know, you feed them something that's healthy because obviously you are what you eat,
yeah.
and all those other things that come along. But most people, not that anybody, it's wrong. You just don't think that way. It's just changing your mindset, I think.
I think that you're talking about put to sleep with euthanasia is that, let's say in Sweden or in maybe in America also, they are too fast to put to sleep.
Right.
Break one leg, put to sleep, blah blah blah, and so on. That it's too much in a hurry. In Thailand, they're too slow, or they not do it at all. And even if the dog or cat is suffering, they don't do it because of their beliefs, which I think is crap.
Right.
Because in my opinion, you are your profession before your religion. That's what I think. If you start to have your religion determine what you can do in work, then you shouldn't do that thing. For a veterinarian. So it should be like in the middle somewhere.
Right. Well, like everything.
We do practice euthanasia, but only if there's like a dog with untreatable cancer that is spread all over the body, in the liver, in the limbs, and everything. Yes, and they're suffering, and they maybe have 1 month to live. Then we do it,
Yeah.
but we don't do it because of age. We don't do it because of they have distemper. We always try to treat them, and uh, I mean, distemper is they get well or they die.
Right.
So that we don't do that. We maybe put to sleep maybe 3 dogs a year.
Wow. That's nothing.
No, that's nothing. And that's cases
Right.
that are really severe, like as I said, untreatable cancer or anyway. But we always discuss in the veterinarian group and in the admin group. So it's management group with the veterinarians. We always discuss about this because it's not easy, I believe, to be a vet and put an animal to sleep.
Oh, it's
It's,
horrible.
it's not like an everyday, like, hey, let's do it. They have emotion, they have feelings also, the veterinarians, so it's not easy. But we always need to be like a majority of us need to be agree to put this animal to sleep.
Oh, so you do a group decision. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back. So we're at 2019.
Yeah.
You've now taken over the dog pound and you're doing that. So let's
2017.
2017. So
Yeah.
let's go there and let's kind of bring us up to today because the numbers today are pretty crazy, but just kind of walk us through the progression of how the organization's grown, what you've done, and all that stuff too, so everybody can be educated on that.
Yeah, so we took over there. I mean, we got evicted from the care unit that we had before, and we moved and we built a new house up at the sanctuary for the special need dogs. And then we expanded more because we took in more dogs. I built a small clinic. At that time, it was just one room. I hired a veterinarian, and at that time, 2018, beginning of 2018, I think we had 250 dogs. And to hire a vet was a no-brainer because you save time and cost. So I did that, and then we expanded. I built my house at the shelter. I'm in the middle of the sanctuary. I try to remember to say that word.
You're the temple?
I am, yeah. But I'm in the middle of it. I have dogs to the left and to the right of me, and my own dogs, which is fine. I enjoy it. It's more easy to go to work, so to speak. And I wake up and I'm at work.
Right.
Then we did the expansion. So we from 150 square meters in 2017, we have now almost 8,000 square meters. We will expand another two.
You went from 150 to 8,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
And we are still expanding, and we will end up with 10,000 square meters of sanctuary, clinic, care unit, and so on. So yeah, that's
So that yeah, so for here in the US, 10,000 is more like 35,000 square feet
yeah,
here, right? Somewhere, yeah, right around there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Wow, that's huge.
yeah. It is.
So I don't want to go today. I want to keep working to progression because when people hear the numbers, they're going to be blown away what you're doing. So you went to 150, you're growing. You hire a veterinarian because you had volunteer vets originally, right?
No, I don't rely on volunteers at all because they're unreliable. Some are, many are great, but you cannot trust that they will come every day.
Right.
So I cannot rely. I never ever relied on volunteers.
Okay.
We have volunteers. That's great because they get the reality. They will see the place. They will post on Facebook and Instagram, and also they will, and our staff will meet people from around the world, and this is dog lovers, of course.
Right.
So we do have a volunteer program, but as again, we don't rely on them. I have 44, 45 full-time staff.
45. This is from one dog at a restaurant, and now you have 45 staff.
Yeah,
Wow.
and then so now I have 3 veterinarians on board full time, 3 assistants to them, and 5 admins. And the admin is one is the HR, and we work with adoptions. We There's a lot of translations. They take care of the visitors. We try to reach out to media platforms and social media so they can make articles about us. And also they are jumping in when we don't have enough staff to take care of the dogs. And then I have 3 construction workers that are now working with the expansion, but also changing lights, make sure the timers are correct time. We have timers in the sanctuary where we close the light at 8:30. Then it's time to sleep. And also, it's always something with these construction guys.
Sure.
Always you have broken fence, corrosion, need new paint, dogs dig a hole and run out. so so that's what we have. We have about 25 dog caretakers that works inside the sanctuary. So yeah, I went from one dog and me to 45 staff. And you want to know how many dogs we have now?
Yeah, I do want to know.
You do?
I do.
All right. We care for 1,150 every day.
That lives with you, but you also feed dogs on the street still too, right?
So we have 750 in the sanctuary, and we have 400 on the streets, where we feed and monitor daily. And why are they still on the streets? Because they live in environments that are not dangerous for them.
I gotcha.
There's not a lot of traffic, no mean people, and so they stay there. What we do is we take them in to spay and neuter.
That's why I wanted to get into that. I want to talk about spay and neuter, what you guys are doing out there.
Yeah. So a total of 1,150 dogs in our care at the moment.
And how big is it? You're in a village, right? Or a city?
We are outside. We are in the forest. We actually have our sanctuary inside a garbage area.
Inside a what?
Garbage area. Garbage?
Your garbage, like a garbage dump?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Best place. No people.
Right.
Nobody would live here except me. Me,
That's
dogs
crazy.
and garbage. That's the name of my new rock band.
So seriously, you're in a garbage dump. Does it smell bad?
No, or maybe I'm used to it, or maybe I.
You just used to it.
No, it
That's
actually
crazy.
doesn't. And the thing is that, I mean, we have around 20, 25 staff lives here also. So it's me and half of the force staff force lives here. But there's no smell. Maybe sometimes,
Yeah.
but I rather have smelly garbage once in a while than disturbing neighbors.
But you're like in a forest, like a jungle forest kind of a thing?
Yeah, and the neighbor is a big Chinese graveyard.
Wow.
So it's yeah. Now it sounds awkward. everything. But yeah,
No, no, that's not awkward at all. No, I'm just paying attention. I mean,
garbage, Chinese grave, dead people, and
you
dogs.
don't have to worry about people around. You just got a bunch of dogs, a city of dogs.
And there would be no development here. Nobody want to live here. There would be nothing. So that's perfect. The dogs can bark, they can howl as much as they want.
Oh, you don't drive anybody crazy.
Yeah,
And this, you don't have to worry about it in the cemetery either because they're already underneath the ground.
yeah. So
So,
it's a perfect place.
but getting back to numbers, so you've got 1,100 or 1,150 animals you're taking care of.
Yeah.
But in the area that you live in, what's the population in the general area? Not just not your graveyard and not your garbage dump, but the area, the town that's by you. How many people roughly live there?
Around here, well, let's say the closest neighbor is maybe 5, 6, or maybe a kilometer from us.
So you're basically kind of in the country
Oh
then,
yeah,
what we would say in the States. So, but
yeah.
the closest city to you, are you getting you're getting animals from the city or village or whatever the closest thing to you, right?
But we do work together with that municipality where
Right.
I know the mayor. So that's called Sanso. So we work closely with them. We have MOU with them, and they bring us dogs.
What's MOU?
Memorandum of Understanding.
Okay.
So it's like a contract.
Okay. I gotcha.
So they bring us dogs, and we work very closely together. They help us with some dry food, maybe 6 months a year of dry food. We don't pay any electric, we don't pay any water, so that helps a lot. But this is they understand it's a win-win-win.
Oh, absolutely.
If I were to take care of all the expenses myself, that would be maybe we couldn't do as much as we do now. So
Right.
the mayor and this municipality is very good to work with, good cooperation. So this is their area, this is their land.
I gotcha.
And actually, from 1st of October, there will be no more garbage trucks coming in here because the municipality, they will sell the garbage to a company nearby, and they will reuse and make energy of it and so on.
Uh-huh.
So then we will have the big place here all by ourselves and more space for to run around with the dogs because we walk many dogs daily. In average, like in a week, we walk around 2,500 dogs.
Wow.
So on a daily basis, that would be maybe 400 dogs per day, 300 dogs per day.
Wow.
Yeah. So and also in the area, it's a big area, so we walk them around here.
So I saw on your site that you guys do spay and neuter. So let's talk a little bit about that because obviously, you know, other countries, Mexico has the largest per capita homeless or stray animals, and they have a huge spay and neuter program going on. Are you guys doing the same thing? Do you do it like quarterly or something like that?
No, we do spay and neuter daily.
Daily.
Yeah, as I said, we work together with the municipality. They bring us dogs twice a week from the area. So it's catch, neuter, release (CNR). So we take them in, spay, neuter, keep them for 2 days, make sure they're okay, and then we send them back to their areas. So slowly, but also the clinic that we have, it's open for the public. And before, when it was done, it was free of charge. But during COVID, we lost so much in donations,
Yeah.
so I had to start charge people. But it's an at cost clinic, so they don't have to pay overprice. I mean,
Right.
we let's say in a normal clinic, if you do an X-ray, that's like 800 to 1,000 per film. We charge 150 baht.
Right. Yeah, you're not a prophet. You're just doing it to keep your head above water.
Of course, and they have to pay for the cost that we pay.
Right.
So yeah, that's hopefully one other Monday can have it free again, but I'm not sure I'm going to go there because people they tend to book times for the dogs and they not turn up. They have to pay anything. So
Have you seen the numbers? So if you have two dogs, a female and a male, and they're not neutered, and then they have puppies,
yeah,
and those puppies don't get neutered. In 6 years, those two dogs turned into 63,000 dogs.
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
And then in cats, because their litters are bigger, I think it in 8 years, same thing, don't get spayed and neutered, their litters are bigger. 8 years, it becomes like 2.2 million cats. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Have you noticed one thing? I was talking to a spay and neuter group on one of the podcasts, and it was really interesting. So it was an area, it was down in Mexico, and one of the so they have a huge spay and neuter program there, and now they've gotten it really in control. And when the people that run it, they're actually from the States. When they first moved down there, they didn't really see that many cats. Now they see more cats because the dogs aren't chasing the cats around. Are you seeing more cats now?
Actually, in our area, there's not so many cats. I don't know why.
Yeah.
There's not. Maybe because there's a lot of stray dogs. But
Right, exactly.
Bangkok have a lot of cats, and there's not many stray dogs now because the government moved these dogs to a dog pound outside of town. So maybe that's why there's a lot of cats there.
Right. I mean, it makes sense, but I'd never even heard anything. So yeah, well, now all of a sudden you said now we see way more cats because all these dogs have been spayed, and they do it. I think they do it quarterly, like a big clinic where everybody comes in and does it.
Yeah.
And I think they do it daily as well, but they have a big clinic so people just know it's spay and neuter day or whatever it is. But they said now that all these cats are around, now they have to get all the cats spayed because now they've got all these cats. One problem, we fix one problem, we get another problem.
I never thought about that, but that's probably true,
Yeah.
But we do spay cats also. There's not so many here, as I said. There's more dogs, and we don't have any space for rescue cats.
Right.
So two of my staff, they take care of the cats. So one of my staff, she's the operating manager here. She have like 14 cats now in her room, and then we have one other staff. She have almost the same amount.
So I've got some trivia for you that you're going to like because I guarantee you don't know this, and it was actually from another different guest I had on one day. So cats, when they're happy, you're petting them, they purr, right?
Hmm.
So do you know that cats also, so they purr for two reasons. They purr when they're happy, but they also purr when they're in pain. So you have to think of the way the analogy, the way you can compare it is a human, you groan like you're really happy, like a great meal. You go, oh, that's the best food ever.
Uh-huh.
And then when you're hurting, you go, oh, that really hurts. So cats actually, but it's actually a real thing. They're kind of their groan of ecstasy and their groan of pain. I had no idea, but cats actually groan to show that they're in pain as well.
Yeah, I had no idea about that either. I'm not really a cat person.
Well, I'm not a huge cat person either, but I just think it was just really interesting to begin
Yeah,
with.
it is interesting. Yeah.
What are the future plans? I mean, you're up to 1150. The way you're going, you'll be in 2000 pretty quick.
No, no. So what's going to happen now is we're going to expand to the 10,000 square meters or 35,000 feet. Then I will have a limit of 1,000 dogs at our sanctuary.
Okay.
So that's the limit. And if we find a home for a dog or dog pass away, then we will take in more dogs, but never over 1,000. That's the limit.
So when you do your adoptions, do you have a lot of international adoptions that you do?
No,
It's all in
a
Thailand.
lot of requests, but we don't send dogs abroad because if I was to send a dog to America, one dog in the shelter in America will be put to sleep.
Really?
So I always urge people,
Oh, I get that. Yeah.
yeah, adopt locally. You don't have to adopt from Thailand to be the hero. You be a hero for the dog at the local shelter.
Oh,
And I was in America in 2018, and I visited like 10 different shelters, and there's so many dogs everywhere. And so I think that why don't you adopt locally? We rehome locally. I think people should adopt locally. You still the hero. You still hero.
and they also recognize the language as well. I mean,
I don't think that would be a anyway, but I don't think that's an issue. But and some people say it's too much paperwork. Well, there's a reason for that.
yeah,
Yeah, and also the cost. And I said, you adopt from us, it's going to cost you $500.
right.
Yeah. So if you go to, let's say I went to in Sedona, they have
Arizona.
Yeah, they have a shelter there, and it's Human Society. Really nice place.
Humane Society.
Yeah, 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 and really nice place. And the people donate for the adoption fee sometimes.
Right.
So you walk into some shelters, it's already taken care of. You just need to fill out the papers. But I do think there should be a small fee because if it's free, people are like, never mind, it's free. If you pay for it, maybe you take care of the animal a little bit better. I
Well,
don't know.
speaking of COVID, one of the problems we had here is that everybody that we're all stuck at home all started adopting all these animals.
Yeah, yeah,
And they weren't really geared to really have them or didn't want them. And so now that COVID's over, all these dogs are coming back and all these, all these shelters are overflowing with animals because people they got them and they took them back.
yeah. Same in Sweden.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I think they emptied all the shelters in America, and now it's back to square one.
Well, and then, the other problem we have out here is, I deal a lot with veterinarians all the time, and they're all short staffed because a lot of people didn't come back, and they're so overwhelmed and working because so many people are coming in. Even though they took a lot back, a lot of more people had animals, but their staffs are short, so they can't get staff to cover this thing. It's insane. The whole COVID thing really just screwed up the entire world.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but this is so we go back to the same as I told. Start with that. It's a human problem.
It always is.
Because if you take responsibility and you keep your animal as a family member and for their lifespan, then this wouldn't be an issue. It wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or do you guys do fosters as well?
we would like to, but it's hard in this area.
Different culture. Yeah.
No, there's some, but because yeah, if you find a foster home, we hope for a foster fail.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I was wondering if you knew the term foster failure. I
Yeah,
think it's the craziest name ever. It makes sense, but it's also like you don't think of it until you actually think about it. What it actually the meaning is. I actually love the name now. When I first heard it, I go, "What does a foster failure mean?"
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Foster failure is a success.
Then again, one of my dogs was inside the bedroom, but he wanted to go out.
One of your 15 dogs.
Yeah, one of my 15 dogs. He have 3 legs. I have 3 dogs with 3 legs. I have a dog that is completely blind, and then I have 11 sort of normal dogs.
Well, that sounds like my dog Mabel. She's sort of normal.
I think I think that's great.
So, bottom line is, you don't have a big heart at all, do you?
No,
Not at all.
no, hate everything. I'm just walking around and complain. No, no.
No, I don't think so. You sound like pretty happy to me.
I'm actually more easy now, and I'm more calm now than I was working in the restaurant business. And the dogs made me slow down the pace because I have a high drive. I'm so determined. I'm stubborn. But that is also a positive thing when you work with this. I never give up.
Right.
I'm so determined. But before, my drive was too high, and it scared people away. So the dogs at my age made me slow down a bit.
Well, I don't think it's your age. It's just by 1,000 dogs is 1,000 dogs. I don't care what anybody says, and that's training. But, we talked about this earlier before we started recording, but it's like I said, it's always amazing to me. Go down a path. You move to Thailand to work in a restaurant, open a restaurant. Next thing you know, you get a dog you're feeding, and now you've got 1,100 dogs you're taking care of. It's always interesting. You go down some path and it takes you some other place that you just didn't know, but there was a plan for you. You just didn't know the plan was there yet.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I could have had a day off when that dog showed up behind my restaurant.
Right.
I could, but I don't know. Faith. What do you call it? Not faith.
Kismet.
But yeah, it was meant to be. I think.
Yeah, kismet.
Yeah.
It's what I would call kismet. It's just one of those things, and I believe that. I mean, things happen all the time. You just, if you have the faith, you don't even have to have the faith. Just let it happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's give some information for all the listeners out there to how they can help you guys out. Tell them, if I don't know exactly how your volunteer program works. I'm sure you probably have it on your website without having to spend too much time on that. Any information you want to get out there, I'll put it on social media as well. But let's go ahead and give for everybody that's listening, however they can get a hold of you guys, whatever they can do, anything that anything you need, whatever. Just let's put it out there.
Yeah, okay. So we do have a volunteer program, and if you send an email to volunteer@tmtrd.org and you talk to Chris, and he's the volunteer in charge for the program, you can also sponsor a dog from where you live. There's a different cost, $30, $50, and $80 a month, and you get different updates, and it's sponsorship at tmtrd.org. So let's say, and also I want to speak about numbers here. What we spend now, and we live solely on donations around the world, from around people around the world, and we spend around $50,000 a month, and that's equal to 1.7 million baht, and that's a shitload of money here.
Yeah.
So just to, if you want to donate, we have all the information on our website, tmtrd.org. Again, you don't have, maybe if you don't want to send money, you can send in old collars or leashes to our place, and we use and walk our dogs. Address is on our website.
And the website is
tmtrd.org.
By the way, for you guys listening, it's the best name ever. The man that rescues dogs. So if you can't remember TMTRD, just think the initials, the acronym for the man that rescues dogs. I couldn't wait to talk to you just because of the name. I think the name's one of the best names ever.
It's probably because of the our Swedish background, because we don't speak English that well.
I think it's the most logical. It makes more sense. It's easy to remember.
Yeah, it is. It's a great name.
Okay, well, I'm glad you got all that information out there. Again, I am going to put it on social media. So this is that time. Everybody that's listened before, I've got my silly animal joke. And since we talked about dogs, I think I'm going to do a cat joke just because.
Okay.
And especially since you're a cat guy. Anyways, so I'm going to ask you the question, see if you got the answer. Again, this is just a silly little joke. So what happens when kitties go on their first date?
When kitties go on the first date?
Yeah, baby kittens go on their first date. Kitties. What happens?
What happens?
They hiss.
Oh,
Silly.
Oh man.
Silly.
I have dry humor, but that was low.
I know. Well, that's why we do it. But the main reason why I do it is for everybody that's listening out there. I really want you to, if you've got a good joke, obviously better than that one. If you've got a joke and you want to be on the show, just send them in to me, mkyle@forrealpodcast.com. And also, if you want to be on, or if you want one of your kids to be on, we'll do that. Or if you've got a great idea for an episode, I'm always looking for new content. You've got a great dog story yourself, or a cat story, or a horse story, or an animal story. Again, mkyle@forrealpodcast.com. First of all, Michael, thanks so much for being on the show. I love your story. I think you're doing wonderful things. I mean, from one dog to 1,150 is a pretty amazing story. And obviously, you've got a huge heart. So really, thanks so much for taking the time. You're in Thailand. I'm here in Texas. Modern technology is amazing, but really, really, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed this hour a lot. That's was fun. It's fun. Thank you.
It was really fun for me, and for everybody else who's out listening. Please keep listening and pass the word out. You're going to hear other stories like this and about special people that are out there in the world taking care of our furry friends. Most importantly, we really, really appreciate you for real. And have a great day, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Supported by Let's Walk, that's here to love your animals like our own.
Austin, Houston, and Denver. Let's Walk is here to love your animals like our own. From daily walks, play, in-house sleepovers, and more. Go to work, out on the town, or take a vacation knowing your pets are in the best hands. This woman-owned small business does it all. Check us out on Instagram at Let's Walk Austin, Houston, and Denver.
concludes this episode of For Real with your host, Mark Kyle. For previous and future episodes of For Real, listen via all major podcast streaming sites.